All right. I want to welcome everyone back to the HerdCon PopCast. I'm your host, Michelle Alford, and my co-host Heather Lauer is joining us through Zoom today. Can you say hi, Heather?
Hi, Heather.
She's a smart aleck, but that's okay. We like that. And today we are here with Deacon Stone from RCBI here in Huntington, West Virginia. And what is Skyler's last name?
He's a Clagg. I hope that's okay with everybody.
Okay, Skyler Clagg. And Skyler is kind of interning with AmeriCorps at RCBI.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
I'm in AmeriCorps Vista through the NASA IV&V Education Resource Center.
Awesome.
And I've been put at RCBI to expand the footprint of the NASA IV&V Education Resource Center in the southern part of the state.
Very awesome. Now, for our listeners, could you tell them a little bit about what the NASA I will not get that right. The NASA program that you're working on is.
And don't forget Katherine Johnson. Now, if you'll see Hidden Figures, that's our West Virginia stand-up right there. Incredible history. And the NASA IV&V Center was named after Katherine Johnson. So it's now called the Katherine Johnson NASA IV&V Center.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Gotta get her kudos there.
So the ERC facility up there, we're working to expand robotics in the state.
Okay.
And we provide assistance with running the events throughout the state.
Oh, very cool. Okay. So we're talking like the Vex robotics and drone programs, things like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So ERCs for, we love alphabet soup. We are RCBI Education
Center.
That's the Education Resource Center.
Awesome.
And, NASA IV&V is a new thing. And it's so funny. You see the big building says IV&V. And one of the things that drives our administrator friend Todd crazy is people call it NASA 4 and 5 because it looks like Roman numerals. It's not Roman numerals. Information, verification, validation. And these big government entities like NASA, it's kind of like a great big pie and all the states get their piece of the pie. And I don't know if you know this, but this is West Virginia in the news. If information, computer programs go on satellites or things that fly outside this planet under NASA's purview, that information was verified and was validated. Those programs were run, they were interrogated, they were tested right here in West Virginia, in Fairmont, West Virginia, in fact. And so that's the legacy, of Katherine Johnson too, understanding that, computers were mostly women at NASA who were doing this work. And now we're computing with all new technology in new ways and still recognizing that incredible history and foundation and investing in the next generation. That's a big piece of Skyler's footprint here is we want to start new competitive robotics teams, whether it's in Vex robotics or in drones, you name it. And he supports them. He is an AmeriCorps Vista, so he has decided to donate a year of his life. Thank you for your service to service to the community. And it's a phenomenal setup. So whether he is assisting with the development of programs at RCBI, like helping members in our Maker Vault, or whether he's doing trainings for educators and others about how to start new teams, how to program and code with their robots, or administering camps, right? I got our little RCBI maker camps on here. I'm just so happy to have you, and I'm sad that I think April is going to be.
I believe April 11th is my the end of my term.
You will be missed. You will be missed. But until then, we carry on.
Yes. All right. Well,
there's an intro.
I know that is an amazing intro. Now we know who Skyler is. So Deacon, tell us who you are and what your role is with RCBI and Marshall University.
Yeah, excellent. So back to the alphabet soup, right? Apart from MU, we are RCBI. We're the Robert C. Byrd Institute. We've been around for 32 years. Much of that in thanks to our longtime CEO, Charlotte Weber, who served as our leader and vice president of federal dollars at Marshall University. And she's now transitioned to work with the president here as a stakeholder for outside dollars coming to the university. We're really excited about, her position there. We're also really excited about the next 32 years at RCBI. We exist to speak to the manufacturing industry, like advanced manufacturing. And the way I put it is that, manufacturing is where making meets scale. If you can make a widget or a dooflotchet, if you can, create a thing, an object, if you have figured out how to make that so that you can make 10,000 or 150,000 of them, then you're a manufacturer. And so some of the technology that we use even more and more ubiquitously these days, whether it's 3D printers, like for instance, this 3D printer, we got 32 of these 3D printers or 30 of these in 30 agriculture educator classrooms through some support from the Benedum Foundation. And these are out there in classrooms doing some really cool innovation work with students. They're very robust. We've put this through its paces, and it's really done a phenomenal job. But if you want to come over and you want to access 3D technology, if you want to learn whether you're 8 or 80, if you want to print Pikachu or you want to innovate, some incredible new invention, we really kind of see our programs as the tip of the spear, a place for you to come over, learn 3D printing, and bring it into what you do. Well, there's kind of like a little hidden secret. So if you're figuring out how to print one object and you can replicate that, you are a manufacturer. You can print 10,000 of them, right? So we can't it's not just print Pikachu. It's like print Pikachu in pink and print Pikachu with sparkles and a temperature sensitive Pikachu. And then one that's like wood grain or magnetic. And it's like, we pull all these different materials and approaches in.
Oh, wow.
There's not a lot you can't do. It certainly captures the imagination. And it is our hope that in that play, you come into it through like our maker programs or through a membership in the Maker Vault, that play is so educational that it just kind of grabs you and you start thinking about careers in manufacturing and making and coding and programming, and it all starts to blend together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is awesome. Now, one of the things we've been doing, of course, here is we've got a printer printing while we're going. And it's kind of crazy how efficient that is. And you've got all these really neat 3D printed objects are just crazy. And you've got different densities. And of course, we've got what looks like medical models and stuff. And I mean, it is.
That's going to make too much mic noise.
Yeah, I think it is.
Man.
Yeah, it kind of vibrates on the table.
Cool to hear it though, and there's your other sneak peek in it, and it's fun to just show that this technology can be robust. It can be fast. I started this just a couple minutes ago. Any luck, we'll pop it off there and start a new one like during the podcast, which I think would be amazing. Exciting. So yeah, here we go. Now we're going to start going kind of like down the corridor, because we believe that, designers, innovators, inventors really deserve to have like 21st century notebooks where instead of drawing on a napkin, that we start our ideas in 3D. And we've noticed the power of that, of starting with what we call drawing first, right? So we want to activate new tools, whether they're on an iPad, an app that was downloaded to generate 3D models. Just get folks to thinking and moving in 3D and creating, because once you have a file, you have a digital inventory, right? And it doesn't take up any space necessarily. And you can have tons of different iterations and designs. So this is, good for the goose, good for the gander. This works for printing Pikachu, and it works for making the Dippy Doo ice creams for Millie Snyder of the Shape Shop. And that's why I brought this, is because we want to prove and show that the same approaches that are taken in, your little corner of the bedroom or dorm room 3D printer setup, out in your garage or in the maker space at the Maker Vault with affordable, accessible equipment, if we can close the skills gap and you can figure out how to use it, then we can use not just the technology, but the materials to create some incredible things.
Yeah.
So Millie came to us with a challenge, which was she was in maybe 30, 40 Krogers, and they wanted her to be in 80 to 100 Krogers. And this is a lady who, she brought Weight Watchers to West Virginia 40 years ago. She's been at it a long time. She founded the Shape Shop, and she creates these low calorie ice cream treats. And so through one of our endeavors or programs at RCBI, the quality department, this is a cool thing. It's like you see in manufacturing shows, they sit there and they like time everything you do. Where are your workstations? What's your process? How much time does it take to train a new employee? They know how to categorize all this stuff and make recommendations. They said, you need a flash freezer. You need a more easily trainable production method. And our part of that puzzle was like, can you guys make an easier production method for her? And we said, we think we can. So what we'd like to do is we would like to make her a mold. And we'd like to make sure that every dippy-doo looks like the last dippy-doo. We'd like to make sure that every employee makes a dippy-doo that looks and feels the same. So this is the end of the path. I'm going to end up here, but this was the beginning. And this is printed on a ubiquitous, readily available, inexpensive home 3D printer. This isn't all about advanced manufacturing technologies, even though we have over $20 million of manufacturing technology at RCBI. So what to use for this? This is PLA, right? This is food safe filament. So this is made out of corn. This makes it sustainable as well.
That's
If we want
awesome.
more of this filament, we grow it. When it's dead and gone, it goes in the compost heap. It'll actually break down. It takes a while, I'm not going to lie, but it breaks down, unlike other plastics, leaving behind no plastic microparticles. So a note about what that means, though, what that really means, you know, we have a kind of another hidden problem to think about here. It's not what we see in the oceans, the patches of plastic floating around there. Oh, I see a problem. I know it. But do you know that a credit card's worth of plastic goes through you as an American every week? So you need to stack up 52 credit cards and you'll have that block of plastic that goes through your body in a year. We have a problem. I mean, whether we're facing it or not, it's an issue. And I feel like we have at least the beginnings of thinking about solutions to that problem right in those dorm room corners, the bedroom corner, the garage, and the maker vault down at RCBI. Like, this is it. And so, you know, why do we use this stuff? Well, obviously, we're talking about a food product now. But we don't use this stuff because we're tree huggers. I mean, we use this stuff because it works. So sometimes those solutions that we need to solve those broader problems are great solutions that just work. And when it does, we need to go way down that path fast, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
So we create a food safe positive. We call this a tool. We use a tool to make the mold. We create these little dams or enclosures around it, right? And we pour a food safe 2-part silicone mix into that, creating these beautiful molds for the dippy-doo. And these have been turned into tons of different configurations. If you guys are going to tune into or come to any of next week's Coalfield Development and Social Enterprise Summit that's taking place on the campus of Marshall University, I'm going to be doing a little panel on manufacturing. Millie's going to be there. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about what this has meant for her. So she's now in over 100 Krogers. She's just taken a contract for 175 Par-Mar stores in 3 states, Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky. So far be it from you to not find this anywhere you go. You're going to find them in Kroger, you're going to find them in Par-Mar, and you can at least think about the PopCast here where you heard about it, and RCBI, the team that helped to help her make how she's making dippy-doos now. I think it's a lot of fun.
Wow. So last year, you brought into HerdCon some of the RCBI drones and set up an obstacle course for our people to participate in, and it was great. Will you be bringing the drones back to HerdCon on March 25th?
Well, I think we're probably going to do even a little bit better because March, April. Yes, March is before April. So Skyler will be with me. I'm looking at him here. He's just got Skyler, you just got nominated to have a robotics up there. No, so just like the upcoming West Virginia Makes Festival that we're going to be speaking about in a little bit, Skyler's going to be bringing out all kinds of resources for educators, teachers, folks in the community, homeschoolers, anybody that wants to form a new team, bringing these robots, showing what it takes to start a team. It's not as bad as you think. And a lot of times you get into these arenas where some of those drones we played with, we get funding from partners like the
NASA Space Grant Consortium.
That's right. NASA West Virginia Space Grant Consortium has funded 17 of these suckers. We're going to give away. I'm going to show you some of them here in a moment.
Exciting.
So not only will we bring them to HerdCon, we'll bring some other bots to HerdCon, but we're giving these away, you know? We're giving these away to plant seeds so that new teams can grow, so that young minds can continue to get exposed to new ways to think. And this is not this is what encouraged me about drones.
Mhm.
I like to tell my personal drone story. I come up here in Appalachia, we all got our own unique window. And if you'd asked me a handful of years ago, hey, what is a drone? Like, what is a drone to you? And it's like, well, let's see. It says sharper image on top of it. It costs $40 and you fly it into a tree the first time and then you try to figure out if the remote control now has any value or you should just pitch it in a trash can. I mean, recycling. So, right. So that was my estimation because that's what I saw. I saw people getting these junk drones and destroying them. And I thought this is not something I'm interested in bringing into our robotics program until I started to see the rad drones come out, part of the REC Foundation, Alphabet Soup. Sorry. They run Vex Robotics. Like this has been around for years. I said, there's a platform, it exists. There's a competition that can keep kids coming back for more. There's an annual challenge that changes each year. This is more about teamwork, game theory, communication, engineering, coding and programming for autonomous flight. The minute you get one of these drones and you get out on the field, it's not about the drone anymore. And this is the way we think about things at RCBI. The thing is not the thing. It's about the process.
Mhm.
And so in that process, you have a platform where young people are learning and growing every day. It's not about the drone. The drone's just a vehicle for the learning. So yes, we'll bring it. We'll have more bots there and go to rcbi.org. And if you're with a group, you got a couple kids that want to start a team. These are an impasse. They can cost a couple $100. And you got some registration and travel fees and things that happens when you're competing. Well, we can take a big chunk out of that right now just by giving away these drones. And that's still open. I'm keeping that open. We're still accepting applications. I promise to keep them open to the end of September. But we're going to move into October a little bit because we still have some slots open. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was something that I was seriously pushing for. Michelle can
yeah.
vouch for that.
18.
I was just like robot battles, or
Yes.
drones.
Absolutely. And they kind of attack each other. We brought a drone. Skyler and I are looking at each other like we brought one of these little co-drones to show off, and it has like evaporated. So maybe we'll be giving away 16 of these drones. And just kidding.
So this year's game is going to be it's going to require more cooperation from the team members. So
Very cool.
this game is called Blackout. There is this, well, as it says, Blackout. There is in previous years, there were gates. Well, this is just a wall that blocks their view.
Oh, wow.
They have to land on a cube behind it.
Oh, wow. So
they
they're going to
have-
have to communicate with
They'll have
others
to communicate with one of their team members on the other side of the field.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
That is a very good communication.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey,
yeah.
anybody ever work a job?
Yeah.
Like, what's the number one thing? And I've worked in, different places in my past have been disorganized and places that have been
Mhm.
organized. Communication.
Yes.
Communication. It's not, I think you start to think that it's a problem. You're like, well, communication is a perennial problem. It's not, it's an opportunity.
Yes.
Right. And it
Yeah.
always has to be renewed. And people need to continually have those connections to
Mhm.
reinforce.
Yeah.
And again, this is why I'm like, this is not about a drone. This is about young people connecting and figuring
Yeah.
out how to overcome challenges together.
That'll
through
be so
communication.
exciting.
It's good.
Now, do you have any events coming up that people can
Well,
participate in?
We actually have a Vex IQ event and a aerial drone competition event here at the Tri-State Airport on
wow.
December 3rd and 4th.
Oh, okay. So anybody interested? I mean, this is coming up fairly soon. You've got a little time, so I guess people can they apply through?
They can apply for one of the drones, and if they get a drone, that's a free. You'd have to go to robot events and register a team. I think that's
Mhm.
around a $200 fee,
Okay.
but you can register for events on that website as well.
And teams
Okay.
of up to how many?
That's a very common question, but it's not one that I can specifically answer. People
Okay.
can
But it
have
could be 2 to 5, 3 to 5 or 6.
it. Yeah. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
Which means, from a parent's standpoint, and I've had my kids in some robotics it's wonderful to divide and conquer and not have like all the pressure on.
Oh,
To
yeah.
take turns and who's packing snacks and who's driving this time and so on. And then these become these fantastic adventures.
And it helps, of course, with the cost because, of
Yep.
course,
Yeah.
one family having to pay $200 versus 3 or 4 of them working together definitely does make
Yeah.
life so much easier.
And I want
Yeah.
to say too, like that education resource center that
Mhm.
Skyler's talking about, we at RCBI, if we hear about anybody who wants to, and
Mhm.
that financial is an issue for them getting there, I mean, to tell you, I have witnessed some incredible things of folks pulling out all stops, not just waiving fees, but
Awesome.
sometimes there are sponsors waiting in the wings. So you should never
Wonderful.
ever be priced out of this stuff. And I hope that this giveaway is
Mhm.
an indication of that fact.
That is awesome.
In these competitive robotics arenas, like the thing that I carry with me is this concept of cooperation. This idea that we're in a competition, but we're collaborating and cooperating. Like if your battery is botched or your remote
Mhm.
stopped working, you will turn around and there will be 30 people handing you batteries and
Yeah.
remotes. They
Aw.
want to see you. And I'm not just making that up. It's just every time
awesome.
there's always something. Oh my gosh, we forgot our fill in the blank. There it is. You got everybody and
Yeah.
their brother bringing it. to you.
There's always somebody there that's willing to help with whatever. We had one team that showed up and their robot just fell apart on them. Well, another team came over and helped them fix and gave them whatever they needed to fix it.
Oh, see that's something I love seeing because, of course, we talk about competition and stuff, but our community really is where things grow. And when we
Mhm.
reach out and we have people who will jump into the wings and just say, "Hey, let me help you fix that." That's so important.
Yeah.
That is awesome though. That's a great way to really be able to help West Virginia grow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really where we need to be, and I love it. Now, where would people contact, who, like, is it just on the RCBI website if they want to ask about, starting a Vex robotics or drone team or
Yeah,
anything?
that's a good point. And we have the website up, so I can show you our makers section. We have a couple things going on. The Makes Festival, the drone giveaway, and then I'm gonna have Skylar detail. He rattled off robot events earlier, but I want him to detail what that site is and how people get registered. So,
Wonderful, yes.
obviously you want to come like make stuff, learn to print. We have a couple like membership levels in the Maker Vault. So, I got these wonderful little cubes. We've got things that we print in pieces that we
Oh.
get assembled together, to kind of show how production works. And then this magic stuff. This is a fun one. You need to get over and check this stuff out. This is a single print. This is one print. It is made up of multiple components, though, right? So this, if you'll think about it, this was never assembled, so it can't be disassembled, but it is a functional object. And you'll see that little door dilate right there. So
Oh,
we've got
cool.
4 pedals and an exterior and interior bowl that articulate one another. And this printed just like this, standing up layer by layer on the build plate. Again, to emphasize, it cannot be disassembled because it was never assembled. Its assembly was an accident of the way the parts were oriented on the bed. And the reason is because it was designed for 3D printing. So
Awesome.
if we could, render the rubber of tires and ball bearings and belts and pulleys and all this stuff from the floor up, we could drive a car right off the factory floor. And
Yeah.
experiments like this have been done. Of course, it's not something that scales just
Mhm.
yet, right? But printing of a cell phone, printing, people know about bioprinting, printing of ears and cartilages has been going on for many years.
Yeah.
There come moments where these things come together, and it happens when that technology reaches back to the drawing board, right? And we say, wait a minute, I'm going to design for this. So these things, and this is an eyeball box. You can download this on Thingiverse for free because even just the printing of it can be challenging. When you print this, you got your printer dialed in and you've opened up, to Panacea. You can just go to the moon and back. So we try to drive little concepts like that home at our Maker Vault. You can get in there for $25 a month to get access to all these printers, Glowforge laser cutter, CNC technology, vacuum former, soldering setups, electronics, etc. And so that's like self-led learning. You're driving, you're going to get your own filaments and your own consumables, and you make what you want. We also have a $40 a month membership, which is assisted. It gives us about an hour of time. We like to spend in 15 or 20-minute sections saying, what is a 3D printing slicer and how does it work? Okay, here's our favorite. This is what we understand. Here's the best practice. Now you try. Good. Okay, great. Now let us know what you want to learn next. And we'll just slowly build people up to that point of weaning them off of that assisted level and having them at a $25 a month. And they just walk in. Oh, hey, Chuck, how are you? Oh, I'm just making this today. Cool. Let us know if you need anything. Okay, great. It's your space.
Awesome.
It's like your library of making, if you will. You know,
Very
slip that
awesome.
library in there. You like
Yeah,
that?
yes.
So that's a note on the vault. And then under makers too, we have the West Virginia Makes Festival. I think we'll probably take a minute on that because we're going way down a path, and I wanted to make sure that we hit up some robotics and the robot event site. So let's come back to the Makes Festival, which I'm very excited about. And is it robotevents.org?
Robotevents.com.
.com.
I can't type.
You're typing at least as good as I do on a regular day.
So this is Robot Events. Or you'd come on here and you'd register for an account. And here you can pick which type of competition you'd be doing. Right here's the aerial drone competition.
Okay.
Vex IQ is for elementary and middle school age.
Okay.
And these are like little plastic,
Yeah.
almost like Lego kind of robots.
Okay.
Yeah.
With brains and motors and sensors.
Okay.
And-
Kind of like the ones you can pick up at, say, like Michael's or Walmart.
In
the
a way.
starter kind of kits.
I'll show you
or
real fast, actually.
yeah, okay. Because I've seen quite a few small robotics kits that they're selling these
So-
days, but
This is vexrobotics.com. This is the site where you buy all of that equipment for these competitions. So IQ is well, if the picture will load.
I like how like Skyler's arm like came right down on the look off button. He's like, if the load, yeah. It's like I've never seen that before. It's like
So-
a wrist rest.
oh wow.
This
These
is
are different kit sizes.
yeah. So this is like a classroom bundle. But this is what most teams would buy right here.
Okay.
Okay.
Which for school teachers that
Yeah.
haven't had a team before at their school,
Mhm.
they can reach out to the IV&V Education Resource Center
Okay.
and schedule a training.
Oh,
And we can
nice.
provide a training and provide a robot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They just have to sign up on robot events for a team and
Okay.
participate at events.
That is awesome. So
And
yeah,
so-
Yeah.
first step, guys, you jump on here, go ahead, register a team, and you can have someone like Skyler helping you get a team started here locally. And I mean, that's super exciting. I mean, my daughter, she's 12 right now. And of course, we talk about things like Osmo and things like that. She's always like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, robotics would be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, get out there and do that.
And they're super fun kits. And you see those prices too. The eyebrows go up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So know that we worked with NASA West Virginia Space Grant Consortium in the past and have funded some giveaway kits. And that right now, the West Virginia Robotics Alliance has some robots for giveaway.
That's awesome.
And it's like participate in a training. So they are like Legos. Like I had a tub of Legos when I was a kid, and you poured it out and you made X. And then when you were done, you put it all back and you poured it out again. It was just an infinitely lasting
Awesome.
resource. These are very similar, reconfigurable,
Mhm.
infinitely expandable. You can do all kinds of stuff with them and they just last. So every year you can be building a new robot, new designs come out and you can come up with your own.
Awesome.
So they're a lot of fun, And again, I think it's just having that program behind it that is the key, and it's the reason that we like to lean into it at RCBI. Look at this.
Oh wow.
So while this said on there that it was for ages 9 or for grades 9 and up,
Mhm.
it's middle school and high school can use this kind of equipment instead
Mhm.
and compete in events
And this
Or-
looks like it's got a tracking system of some sort.
Yeah, I've actually not seen this one yet. This is an
That's really
interesting.
cool looking.
Yeah, this is new to me and I want some immediately because, you know,
Yeah.
workforce development is a big thing we do at RCBI.
This is something new that they've just released, I believe.
All right.
Really cool.
Yeah, Skyler, go ahead and order about 3 of those for me.
So
Oh, wow.
this is
Yeah.
what the middle school and high school teams will be competing in. They're basically playing disc golf with robots.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Hey, make sure you order me one of those too.
Wow.
So they
That
get.
is so cool.
Let me show you guys what the kits look like. 5 kits and bundles. So
Oh yeah. So this
Oh,
is the
nice
piece,
controller.
like if you'll let me kind
Yeah.
of
very familiar.
contextualize this because we get in Vex and we're mostly like middle school and into high school, right? And I
Right.
was saying they're like they're plastic. They fit together like
Yeah.
connects and they have pins and all this other stuff. Then you get into Vex and that's like big boy, big girl stuff. So that can go from high school up to college and beyond.
So-
And in fact,
Marshall actually has a team. It's looking for some new
Okay,
members.
Awesome. So, guys, if you're interested in robotics, you can do that here at Marshall. Skylar, do you know who's
I'm actually the
running it?
contact for that.
Okay, Skylar is the contact for it. So see, right here, we'll add Skylar's contact to the podcast if you don't mind.
Yeah,
I can
that's
put it
fine.
on our when we put it
please
up on
do.
the message board, and we'll add, of course, the links to the RCBI website and
Yeah.
everything as well, because we want people to be able to get the information they need.
Perfect.
And we're library people. We want everybody to get the
Reference.
information.
You gotta have a reference provenance. Where did this
Yes,
come from?
We like references. We
So,
cite our
But I
sources.
gotta brag on Skylar a little bit. He probably won't go on into this, but before he decided to donate a year of his life in service to the AmeriCorps Vista program, as a student at Marshall, studying in engineering, correct? And you were
Wow.
part of the Vex team,
Yeah.
which just at the beginning of the pandemic. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a
Oh, the
very
pandemic.
interesting is the right term for it, season.
It was great up until right after the qualifying for Worlds tournament.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they did qualify for Worlds and in fact ranked among the top 20 teams in the world. Your first year
awesome.
out from Marshall University. am I
Yeah,
correct?
it would be our first year for Marshall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That
It
is
was a very like,
impressive.
well, if we could get to Worlds, that would just be a dream. And they end up being among the top 20 in the world their first year out. So, I mean,
Oh,
you
wow.
talk about, and these are the fellow students that like you're going to meet when you come and join the Vex Club at Marshall,
Yeah.
like just phenomenal humans that are capable of anything, and we love to attract and hang out with folks like that at RCBI and in the maker space, which leads to like Vista ships placements. We do internships there too, wink, wink.
Mhm.
So like we want to get to know you. We want to get to know you through these, giveaways, through the participation in the West Virginia Makes Festival, through membership in the Maker Vault. And it's networking and opportunities like laid bare. It starts all the way from robotics up.
Now, is that one of your more
This is the
college level, or
actually, this is still high school and middle school
wow.
level, but also, yeah, college level can use this as well.
that is amazing. That is quite a bit of, that's like
Yeah.
full on metal and plastic pieces,
Yeah, it
isn't
is. One of the huge differences between the high school and middle school level and the college level.
Mhm.
In college, instead of just building one robot, you build 2, and
Oh.
you are competing as the alliance rather than in high school and middle school. There are 2 team alliances that are paired up each match
Oh,
to compete against the other alliance.
So it's
Okay.
2 teams. You
Yeah.
get paired with, so this is the cooperation model.
And
Right?
Yeah.
The idea that
it's completely randomized every.
Oh,
You don't know
wow.
who you're going to work with. It pops up on your schedule, and you're like, "Oh, okay. I've got to go
that's
figure
really
out how to work
cool.
with
I
them."
mean, that really does
Wow.
encourage the communication and stuff,
Yeah.
because, I got to know how to deal with people that I might not have ever met.
Right.
yeah, that's a skill you only get through practice.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
one
that
thing
is
he
awesome.
did mention that I get excited about is like once you do kind of graduate up through this, not only do you have a good context for how these
Oh, yeah.
competitions shake out and move, But when you get into these guys, you're using grinders
Oh,
and
yeah.
cutting
Oh.
plastic, and you're
Oh.
integrating zip ties and tape, and you can pull other stuff from the outside. You guys were talking about the robotics, like battle bots and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
starting to get into. I'm gonna bet you money that many, if not a majority, of those battle bots, guys and gals, probably came up through programs like this.
I-
I will
That's
bet
awesome.
you
Yes.
Probably
if they're
did.
successful, I bet they did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And one other difference with college level, you can 3D print parts.
Oh, nice.
So
You can customize
yeah,
a
you
lot
can
more.
customize a lot more. So the high school, middle school level,
Just get a little hood ornament on there.
well,
Hey, Einstein.
they
Although this is a self-portrait. No, in my dreams.
the high school, middle school level of robotics teams, they build an 18 by 18 by 18-inch robot.
Oh, wow.
College level, 24-inch robot
Oh, wow. That is pretty awesome.
Wow.
and a 15-inch.
That is awesome.
Are we like, and be honest, we're like nerding up your
We're all-
podcast
yeah.
too hard? Like
Oh,
we
no.
can
Oh no, it's
I don't
quite
think
all
we
right.
Okay.
It's quite all right.
yeah.
And
Because I
if
bring
love
this
to
up, we
we're
can talk
here.
about robotics or something else. If you want. I don't really know.
yeah, believe me, we are nerds.
I like. Well, y'all
so
got
awesome.
questions. You ask us more questions. We want to know.
Oh, gosh. Well, let's see. I mean, we've kind of gone into the Vex and we talked about registering and everything. What else? I mean,
I can show
I
the
guess
drones.
bring up the drones.
So they're sold by,
Because I know we had quite a few people that were so excited having the drones last year and doing the obstacle course with Deacon. And one of my favorite postcards that we've done for HerdCon this year has one of the kids who was there having a blast. Just
Show.
Uh-huh.
he's
Single
just
tear right here.
going
I'm
nuts with the
touched.
drones.
this is a picture from last
Oh.
year's game. It was called Downdraft. They would have to fly through their alliance collared gates. They could not fly through the opposing alliance collar.
Oh, wow.
They'd have one person from their team on the other side as an observer for them to help guide. They'd have to fly through these hoops to de-score enemy or opposing teams' scored balls.
Oh, wow.
So they could
Okay.
blow ping pong balls around
Yeah.
and herd them. I kept
Oh
thinking
my
about
God.
like if your like herding dog out on the field with a little sheep was a drone and your little sheep were ping pong balls, you just want to herd all those into your corner. But who you're competing against can blow those balls out of your corner. Now,
Oh my
any
God.
minute they take to blow the balls out of your corner are minutes they're losing scoring their own.
Yeah.
So you got to put some strategy in this, and to
Yeah.
do so, they have to fly through this difficult little loop to get in, which they could crash and
Oh,
lose
yeah.
time, and fly to get out. So it's like, again,
That
it's
is
not about the
super
drone;
cool.
it becomes about game theory and
Oh, yeah.
strategy.
Oh.
And this is that drone.
Oh, sorry. Back to the previous
Page.
yes.
Okay.
I was thinking that looked like something out of King of the Nerds.
Which page or what part of it?
The course.
Oh,
Yeah, I believe they did something like that on King of the Nerds, which was on
Oh.
TBS, I believe, several years ago.
I have
okay.
no idea.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's okay.
If robotics competitions become pop culture in any way,
Mhm.
it's a win for everybody, in
Amen.
my opinion.
Yes.
And yeah, and this, what I got to get at is that, you may be watching this or thinking about it and like, oh, this is really cool. For some people, it's really normal.
Very
It's like
true.
every day. Like, oh yeah, we're going to do our robotics thing. And then they're collaborating, they're working on engineering notebook, they're programming and coding. So just real quickly, if you can make the leap from imagining that you could get involved in such a thing to being involved. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden you are a coder, programmer, drone flyer, you're part of a team and you're competing. Like just get there right quick. It'll be fun. And we want to help, everybody make that leap as
Yeah.
well.
This is RECF's website, roboticseducation.org.
Okay.
They're the foundation that supports all of these competitions. The Vex IQ, VRC, Vex for University
Okay.
level. They have a Vex AI competition.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
We haven't made the jump to that one yet, but
Okay.
that'll be probably coming up.
Okay, very cool.
There's a lot ahead of us.
And
Yeah.
it looks like
Mhm.
if you're an educator, you could come here and get classroom activities to
Yeah.
use with your team.
Yeah, and they have
Okay.
online challenges that these teams can use or can do to actually qualify to Worlds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um,
Now, how many levels do the people have to compete with to get to the world?
so they'd have to go through a qualifying competition here in the state, and then they'd go to our state competition.
Okay.
After the state competition, you qualify direct to Worlds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ooh.
Guys, that means this is a super doable thing.
Yeah, and at RCBI, we work as
Yeah.
events partners. So, for instance, with Marshall's new flight programs.
Oh,
right?
yes.
We're at the Tri airport, we're in the hangar. Our robotics competitions were the first event to take place in the
Yeah.
new hangar
Oh,
whenever the program
nice.
started. And we were just elated about that.
That is super cool.
What it meant was that, like, during the competition, like, I was going around with trash bags. I was like the janitor. I'm like cleaning everything up because it wasn't staffed yet. We didn't have supplies. It was literally just being built. And they talk about building the
Yeah.
plane in flight. And ain't no such thing as ideal. There's such
Yep.
a thing as get it done.
Yep.
And we love getting it done and providing opportunities for participants to get it done. And we were out there rolling with it.
That's how we do a HerdCon. We just get
Yes.
it.
Just go.
It
And
gets
it's
messy,
good.
but
Yes, it's messy, but it's good. It keeps you strong. You know,
It
you get tired,
does.
but it keeps you strong. It does. So
Oh.
yeah, I feel like so
So,
we support robotics. It's a great inroads. We got the makerspace.
So
We gotta touch on that West Virginia
Yes.
Bakes Festival.
Yes.
It's coming up, you know.
and anything you guys see here today, definitely we'll have links on the YouTube description that will take you straight to RCBI's page, to the drone giveaway, to contacting Skyler about the Vex robotics teams here, and put as much information as we can, and we'll make sure it's up on our all of our social media and our website as well. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about the Makers Fest. I've been to the Makers Festival and I love it. I actually came as a crafter one year and had a blast because I wasn't even worried about selling anything, but it was like I had my family likes to make jewelry and do a lot of woodworking. And so I had all of these kids who were absolutely in love with the fact that I was telling them how we use spalted maple to make jewelry. And they were like, "What is maple?" Like, spalting is actually decay.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling these kids all about it. And I mean, I have never had so many kids just like staring me down heavy. Like, that is so fascinating.
Makes it awful
like-
pretty too, like
like
decorative beauty.
All
in nature.
this fungi has like built up fences against each other. And that's what all the black lines are. And the kids are like, "Really?"
Yeah.
Like, "Yep, that's all fences." They're saying, "This is my territory. Don't eat it. It's mine."
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you shared that because, like,
was
here
so
you're
fun.
talking about a creative project like jewelry making.
Yeah.
And now you jump off into biology
Oh, yeah.
and what brings together, the technical sides of things
Oh,
being
yeah.
beautiful. But what's the venue? Like, it's the Makes Festival. I think when we make best when we can
Yeah.
collaborate. And other people, we're able to bounce the ball
yeah.
off the wall and the ball comes back different. You get
Oh,
a
yeah.
different idea. You can only do that when you're rubbing elbows, when
Mhm.
you're touching bases with people who are thinking about and looking at the world in different ways. So we get this huge advantage by
Oh, yeah.
uniting with folks who are, different and similar to
Mhm.
us in so
Very,
many
very
ways, right?
true.
So there's that venue. And then an outlet, right? You paint beautiful paintings. Maybe you like to
Mhm.
make artwork or you like to dabble and create things. And then you make something beautiful and you stick it over in the corner and no one ever sees it. And you go on and make the next thing. No, there's always an outlet. There's always a place where you want to show it off, to sell it, to take what joy that you've poured into it and share that with the world, right? Every artist does that. Every maker does that. Every manufacturer does that at scale.
Mhm.
And for anybody across those spectra, whether you're 8 or 80 or anywhere in between, whether you're working on a project you think is dry, it's like for a corporation, or something really awesome for a community, whether you think, well, this is super engineering or this is super arts, there's a place for you at RCBI. West Virginia Makes is part of our heart and soul at RCBI. We have, like I said, over $20 million worth of equipment that we contribute to manufacturing. And as we stand on the floor in our shared manufacturing at RCBI, surrounded by all these mills and lathes and fantastic otherworldly pieces of equipment, I like to show people and talk about our equipment. But it's not our equipment, it's our equipment. It belongs to them too, right? So, of course, we produce a value that far supersedes what it takes to operate. So we're heavily grant funded. And as such, those dollars make that equipment and we ourselves like part of your community and like we belong to you.
Yeah.
So I like to say that, we don't make at RCBI. West Virginia makes at RCBI.
Aw.
We help you make what you make, right? So that heart and soul bleeds out into this, the 9th annual West Virginia Makes Festival. We're super proud. Of course, we went virtual through the pandemic. We had some incredible outcomes. We started switching to like video submission things, and we were taking people from a footprint that was way broader.
Oh, wow.
We even became the Tri-State Makes Festival in partnership with Shawnee State University and Ohio University last year, and had some phenomenal outcomes. Well, we are back to in person, and we're back on the campus of Marshall University in the Student Center on November the 4th. And it is going to be a fantastic celebration of making. We have it up on our website. You'll see too your logo and link here. See that? So that one's for sponsors. We got the Putnam County Bank. Thank them for being part of our festival this year. And so many years, Ed Tucker Architects has supported, our Makes Fest. And here we go. If you're interested in sponsorship opportunities, still have levels that you can get on board and get recognized. Here you can see you and contact Nikki Fortner. You can just email me or any of us that are in the info that we'll leave in our wake as we depart our podcast. And I'll show you our cool little poster here too. We've been kind of putting these up everywhere, and you could take a peek at that QR code, take you right to the page on our website. So, there's a few opportunities for you to get involved. If you want to come and bring a table and talk about, I don't care, workforce training programs, how to balance a checkbook. If you are a dabbler, a maker, and you like to make stuff with Arduino or Raspberry Pi, you're like David Kalinowski, you love to 3D print, come and exhibit. Set up a table and show us your highest and best. And again, there'll be lots of people around. You can bounce that ball of your idea off of, and it's going to come back different. And then you'll be able to provide your perspective on their concepts, maybe make some new friends and connections that might be lifelong. Another opportunity would be for you to register as a competitor. So, we got these sponsorship dollars, and guess what? We take this money and we give it away. So we give away prizes to young people in youth categories who are innovating incredible ideas, whether it's like how to get all that powder out of your cereal. It's bug anybody else. That gets me every time. I heard say somebody liked that, and I was like, I'm gonna find out who it is and just get them as far away from me as possible. This is not good. I should find out who it is, and I'll just donate all my cereal powder to him. It's like, here, Hubert, I heard you like the cereal powder.
You like to make the cereal milk stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It takes all kinds in this world. It takes all kinds. So I don't try to judge, So we've seen young people come up with the most fantastic and incredible ideas. I'm thinking of Nathaniel Harmon, who won last year with his vent safe idea. The idea of a little safe you can it looks like a vent in your house. And just his design and his presentation of the project, he wound up winning a 3D printer.
Oh, wonderful.
I think now we have the West Virginia Steam Trek, and this is crossing my mind. Josh last year won $2,000, our grand prize in the Makes Fest, and started his site, the West Virginia Steam Trek, where you can tour around everything from RCBI to the Clay Center to the Green Bank Telescope as a little alien who walks through different theaters and movies on a website. Like this is a thing, and it's happening. And his participation in Makes Fest helped him grow his concept. So classroom educators are now using this to find resources throughout the state, present to their classrooms. And I just don't even have the words.
I need to look that one up.
Every year there's a new cool thing that happens that we help to scale. So that's another way. You come in and be a competitor. Or, you're an educator, you got a classroom full of kids, you're going to want to come in and have a field trip. It's on the
Oh, yeah.
campus of Marshall University. Huntington Museum of Art is going to be here providing hands-on activities. We're going to have tons of hands-on activities. And we have several other groups as well. We're still kind of bringing them out and announcing as we go. So lots of opportunities to get involved is at the Student Center on campus, November 4th. We'll have some folks outside. I know we have some young people who like to work with metal. They're going to be operating forges. Heritage Farm Museum, they're going to bring a weaver down who's going to demonstrate like intense weaving, which I talked to Audie Perry, who runs the farm out there, and we were just immediately like, he said, if you take 2 seconds to stop and watch what she does, it is mind blowing. Weaving a basket, weaving an item is a program. It is a code. It is a meme, right? It is a repeatable activity in which you use information and motion to create a physical object. It's all connected like this. We're talking about weaving a basket, 3D printing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all your 3D printer does is dance around in a particular pattern. All that little bee does when it comes back to the hive.
Base some of the early computing on knitting and crochet.
Knitting and crochet. Yeah, it was one of the first implementations of computer programs and algorithms that could repeat something over and over again. Because I don't know if you noticed, in tapestries and rugs and drapes, there happen to be repeating patterns.
Yes,
so
lots of repeating patterns.
So the conceptual becomes practical.
Yeah.
Like when we reach that manufacturing level. Well, we like to think that the conceptual becomes practical when we connect to each other and we make in community, right? And it's always nice to have some icing on that delicious cake in the form of a prize, a 3D printer that you can win, take back to your home or your school, So,
well, and her podcast is planning on being there with the Eye Center.
I love it.
So we're going to have a remote podcast set up. We probably won't have any of our cameras or anything, but if you want to learn about podcasting, come join us. We'll have some fun. We wanted to give people a kind of taste of what you can get into. And it's something, it's like you said, it's very scalable. You can do this at home with your phone, or you can do what we've got here with a full studio. And we're not even like at the top of the line for that. I mean, there's so many levels that you can get into. So,
Totally.
yeah, it's a lot of fun, guys.
But here it is, hide it under a bushel. No, we're going to let it shine. It's like when you have something cool, when you make something neat, when it brings you joy, it'll bring someone else joy.
Oh, yeah.
And so like, this is a spot where we're just like going to nerd out, talk about 3DP and some robots, bring Skyler up in here and chat about robotics opportunities and share that with the world, right? Who knows who we'll connect to? Who knows what kind of outcomes get made? That's what we're in it for, to find out.
Yeah, it's exciting. That's one of the things I loved with the Makers Festival is, I mean, meeting especially the kids who are coming. They get so excited when they're seeing all this stuff. And I love talking to them and hearing what their thoughts were on it and being able to say, you could do this yourself. This is something, it's like we work with scroll saws and things like that at home. It's like, I can tell you the kind of things you can do, and you can do this with different levels of equipment. Yeah. I mean, you start with a Dremel, you could start with literally just like carving tools and learn to do something really basic, and then, scale it up, try something a little more advanced.
Yeah.
And it's crazy all the things you can do.
Yeah, that's I mean to tell you, you got it down. I think we're just going to hire you over to RCBI, and we'd have a little competition if we tried to do that, wouldn't we? Because that's really how it goes. Like we recognize the importance of saying, okay, we've got some kind of a solution that we've proposed. Maybe it's Millie Snyder's Dippy Doos. So, parts of this project were made in clay. I'm not kidding. Like, we are not shy of a glue gun and some foam core. Like, once you work this stuff out, say for instance, you have a scroll saw involved in your process. So I'm going to make some earrings, right? So I'm going to take these different woods and these spalted maples and all these beautiful things, and I'm going to cut them out on the scroll saw. and I end up with forms and shapes that I really like. Say they remind me of Calder's mobiles, right? Oh, these are great. This is going to be a great product, right? Now I have to spend a week cutting these out. Well, eventually you start stacking up and saying, well, how many boards can I cut through at once? Okay, well, I can cut through 3 of these thin pieces of veneer at once. So that gets me 3 earrings with every cut, right? I can set those up in a station and I can sand every single one of them first, and then I can stain every single one of them, and then I can put the rings on every single one of them. That helps me save some time. But eventually you start to think, oh, duh, wait a minute. I can take a picture of this. I can trace it in Adobe Illustrator. I can laser cut it on the Glowforge over at RCBI. In a day, I can make 230 of them.
Oh yeah, it's a big difference.
So, but I don't think, in so many ways, I don't think it's good to just arrive at the peak of that mountain. Like, I think it's meaningful to start with the hot glue gun. Because think about it, if you're like, I want to make some earrings, and you hit the Glowforge, you probably download something off the internet, make some earrings. It's not cool, and you've moved on. But if you put some blood, sweat, and tears into it, you got to those forms that you loved. Now you have hand in it. You have artistry, right? You have an eye, and you can replicate this object that has hand and artistry. And so
it's a piece of you.
Yeah, that's part of what we try. And that's a hard thing to do, is to maintain the art and the hand, right? As you scale. But it's something that we speak to and we think about and we integrate, and we try to get our makers to integrate over at RCBI. It is awesome. Design thinking made real in our book, right? We like to use that as a springboard and then say, okay, now let's receive this as a customer or as a person who's observing it, who's completely fresh. Right?
Very awesome.
Put a little Steve Jobs on it, man. We want rounded corners. We need this to be slick and mod, high concept and high art.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, I have to say I love the creative process and the fact that you guys are providing so many tools that people can get into and just really up their game and learn something new. I mean, because it really is a fun thing, and everything does have a learning curve. Because we've learned how to use lasers at home, and that's been an interesting experience because you start with, okay, this seems like an affordable option. And you don't realize that, that affordable option is going to take for 2 days to laser cut something. And then you upscale and try something that's a little better, and you find the difference. And the fact that you can go to RCBI and try these things through the Maker's Vault and learn and say, hey, you know what, this is a good investment versus, oh, I probably shouldn't have bothered to use that.
Well, it sounds like maybe you talk to our quality department.
Oh yeah.
People with the stopwatches.
Oh yeah.
It would be like, yeah, that's this one's not going to cut it for you.
Oh yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
I have one more cool thing. We
yes.
showed a little bit of David Kalinowski, our maker feature. Which did we show that?
We didn't do the video
let's
yet.
do that. YouTube.
Yeah.
So I talk a little bit about David Kalinowski. He's like the longest running member of our Maker Vault. He's been there for years, like probably almost as long as Matt.
And you said he's into
guy
cosplay, right?
Cool. Yeah. So we're literally going to click through this just like a good boy should. And David was kind enough to come in and talk about his processes and his making. You can find him on Etsy. In fact, this YouTube video we can put in the resources, and guess what? It's like inception of YouTube descriptions. Like in the YouTube description, we'll have this YouTube video. You click this video, and in this video's YouTube description, you'll be able to find David's Etsy stage. And then you go to Etsy and you just keep, it's like forever. He makes these emulators and 3D prints cases that are sometimes, common, sometimes retro, sometimes rare versions of old GameCubes, Nintendo 64. Just see a full scale blue printed Nintendo 64 body there that he embeds different kinds of microcomputers in, from Raspberry Pi to others. They can emulate infinite video game systems. You could play stuff from an Atari 2600 on these, as well as you could PlayStation and Amiga, and I mean to tell you, they're fantastic. And he sells many of these items on his Etsy store. And his wife is into cosplay and fashion and sells goods on Etsy that she's often carved on our CNC machine, our X carve at
Nice.
RCBI. So I wound up cutting out like all these little like Christmas stockings, right? Out of wood, like by the scores, just scores and scores of them. And he just have that thing running all day. And later on, I come back, David, man, what are you doing with these things? You know? Yeah. And so he pulls up and shows me what his wife does with these, painting them, bedazzling them, like literally just
Oh my
taking
gosh.
1,000 and gluing so many like beautiful things all over them and then selling them for like $30-$50.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, that's awesome, you know? So we
Mhm.
highlighted some of his stuff here, and in this video to show you, he got into resin printing, and I want to mention that for this reason. I know, you know, we probably got some D&Ders, some different tabletop gamers out there. We've worked with students at Marshall, a little blown out. You see it great in the video. Just tons of Pokemon.
Oh, I see a Snorlax in there.
Yeah, intense detail. These things are beautiful, and some
Yeah,
he
they
would
seem
hand
so
paint.
smooth too, because
Yeah.
I know a lot of the 3D printing, you do kind of get a
Hairline.
kind of the lines and stuff from
Yeah.
it.
If you look at these,
try
you
to
can
see
see the lines in
resin
this.
Print
But
here.
Oh, okay, and he's got some of the resin print with him.
So-
And yeah, it's an interesting
I'm gonna go to
the
Michelle's
texture
camera if we
difference.
can, and see if we can to Michelle's camera, see if we can get this to focus.
Oh
on this
goodness,
guy.
is it
Oh,
a
no,
chest?
no.
Second,
Move it back a bit.
it'll. Okay, let's try it one more time. Come on.
so this is
I
a
remember this
little.
from virtual
Uh-uh.
programming. There it is.
There we
Oh,
go.
there.
Goodness.
Do you see how small that is?
Oh, wow, that's so
There is a
pretty.
DNA and a stair step inside. This is a maker rook. Now, many who are watching this probably know what this is. This rook is a 3D printer verification print, right? If you want to really test your printer's metal, and you see this writing around the top inside here,
Oh my.
I mean, it's just
Oh, wow.
astonishing. So this is
So
a test run.
intricate.
We provided these to our virtual camp participants last year because we talked about resin printing. We didn't have a chance to do it in the camp. So I
wow.
detailed all this and I was like, hey, I'd like to print some of these. So with this method of printing, we're just lowering like a sheet down into liquid resin and setting layer after layer as we pull that build plate up. So we're literally pulling a solid object up out of liquid resin. It's being set by light, ultraviolet light from below, shining a particular pattern that creates our detail. That's the easy way of thinking of it.
Wait, what's that?
And oh yeah, we'll get that one in just one sec. So what I want to tell you about it is how it scales. Oh, okay. You're looking at Thanos' sword.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
Sorry,
Too
I
exciting.
didn't
We
mean
gotta
to
pause
break
for
in.
just a second. Because we have resin printing in the Maker Vault and it's magic. So you can create things that are intensely detailed. And I got to tell you, some of the little magic about it is this. I had one of my interns, I was like, hey, prep some of these. I want all my campers to have some. See if you can get one to print successfully. And he got one to print and successfully. I was pleased with it. I said, how long did that take? He said, just under 2 hours. I said, great.
wow.
How many can you fit on a build plate? And he said, I think he could fit 15 or 16 of them.
Oh wow.
So we took this object and we just duplicated it across the build plate. So now when the plate goes down, we're printing 15 or 16 of them. And you know how long it took? Just under 2 hours.
Oh nice.
With
Oh,
resin.
wow.
Every sheet is an exposure, right? If you expose for 8 seconds, it
Oh,
doesn't
wow.
matter if it's a solid block of resin or if it's a single little tower. It still takes the amount of time to do the exposures in the layer. So that's the kind of
Okay.
wisdom we try to bring to manufacturing.
That is awesome.
It's like if you can make the piece you want for the board game, you can print all the chess
Yeah.
pieces in the time it takes to print one chess piece,
That's awesome.
you know, if you will.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so back to the sword.
Ah, yes.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. This we get to the piece de resistance. So this is David Kalinowski. And this is one of the first big prints we got out of our belt printer. So we got a
Oh.
continuous belt printer at RCBI and he printed Thanos' sword. So all one piece. This one was about 5.5 feet long. And his methodology is like he likes to split these models in half, right? and print like half and then flip the 3D model over and print the other half so you can sandwich it together. Put like a fiberglass rod in the middle,
Oh,
or,
okay.
you know, whatever to stabilize it. Paint these and get these to cons, you know, and use them for displays, cosplay and gaming. Yeah, here I think is the other half of his sword being generated. Fun thing is you use whatever filament you want. And this is the technology at work. We're effectively 3D printing on a conveyor belt like you see at the checkout line at the grocery store. So that axis where we're pushing the piece away from us is effectively infinite. It is
Oh, wow.
undefined. We can print objects of undefined length. You want to print something that's 26 foot long? Come to RCBI. We'll help you figure out how to do it.
Wow.
You want to print a zillion D of a tiny little object, keychain or otherwise, maybe something you're manufacturing for sale, you know, you can have those printing out all day long, all night long, one after the other, after the other, after the other, and they start falling off the belt at the end.
Oh, wow.
I swear it is the coolest thing.
That is awesome.
And speaking of cool things, you know, David, of course, you know, when he was done with his little podcast responsibilities, we had to give him his sword so he could go, bid farewell. And he thought he was going to get me pretty good here. He actually, you know, he snapped me out of existence. But the good news is, like, it got him too, right? And so I'm one of the few. I've been snapped both out of and back into existence because I'm here with you today to tell the tale. Pretty fascinating.
Oh yeah.
Well, David's still with us too, and he's working on Mando's rifle here. So this is the Mandalorians Rifle. It's our current record holder for the longest print. And if you look at it, you'll see the profile of the rifle on the top, right?
Yeah.
And so David's methodology, again, we print half of it, right?
About 6 feet, guys.
It is,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. And so what he'll do is he'll turn the 3D model over inside the print slicer and end up printing the part that you don't see here. There's about
Okay.
50,000 different reasons for printing this way. And we discussed this method when he began wanting to make objects like this. The first reason you're seeing right here, this is support material, right?
Okay.
Okay.
If we want to print hot plastic over top of nothing, it's going to do what you think it does.
Yeah,
It's going to
gonna drip.
droop. It's like trying to hot glue
Yeah.
something here. I can 3D print with a hot glue gun. Yeah, sure. Pick that up off the floor, please. You know, so you have to create the scaffolding that you need to hold that hot plastic up when you get to that layer. So you know, our print slicer actually generates this removable support material that we have to peel off. Well, reduce, reuse, recycle, right?
Yeah.
And if we can reduce it, we don't have to spend it. And it's also time we don't have to spend. So taking this method reduces the amount of support material we have to print. Imagine if this gun was curved all along the bottom, the entire bottom of it would be covered with support material to hold it. It'd also be precarious and risky to print. So again, you know, these things are fun. They're a lot of fun, but they're also challenges to create. And so if we can start looking at these challenges not as problems, but like a hurdle that we can jump down to earn a medal in on the racetrack, or an objective that we can meet to get our robotics team to the world competition, like, this is where it's at. This is the frontier. There's so much technology, approach, consideration, and problem solving that goes into creating these things that
Now, the support material, you can actually remove that and reuse it, can't you? Use
That's
it for
true.
new filament and everything.
and
So
it can be recycled. So if you guys, you know, we got some ASMRs out there, you know, we can get that nice crackle and the support material, you know,
Wow.
a lot of fun
Oh,
to
okay.
feel out there.
Oh,
That's the printer.
Yeah.
That we
Oh,
use
wow.
for this.
that is so awesome.
Yep.
Speaking of which, what is the status of the little print of the little
It's
thing you're
finished.
printing?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it finished a long time ago. This
Yeah.
vase, in fact, that we print kind of as an example print, takes only about 20 minutes to complete. So we'll often take this for like classroom demonstrations, and like I'll start it and I'll go up talking, I'll notice that it's done, and I'll go pop it off, hit print again, and then just, you know, give these away all day, you know.
Those are so awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, they're super fun and sparkly. I like this.
Pretty.
Yeah, we have several different persuasions of little vase here and whatnot, and some other little objects. This is an interesting one was in the news recently. It's Chernobyl. Right?
Oh, okay.
So it was
Ooh.
actually a model of kind of like the girders popped open. You can see the lid of the reactor down inside there. I mean, it's
Wow.
just,
Hmm,
it's nutty, right?
yeah.
Super
And
interesting.
this model actually just kind of displays a technology. So, you know, I talked about not printing hot plastic over nothing, but as you'll see here, we have an enclosed space with plastic stretched across it and no support material inside. That's a little trick you can learn to do if you come over to the Maker Vault. We'll tell you how we did that. You know?
Nice.
So these printers are pretty. You always say the thing is not the thing. There's a means by which they do what they do. It's kind of like the difference between speed and acceleration. Like speed, something's going so fast, and then acceleration is like, well, how fast is it going faster, or how fast is it going slower? So those are just, you can just keep slivering this into speeds, accelerations, settings like they call jerk, right? And by changing the way that the printer moves or dances, you can really get some kind of magical stuff that almost defies physics at times. We like to think, you know, at its heart, if you were to just kind of rip the filament out of the 3D printer and then hit print, you would see the printer dance a dance. And that's all it's doing is dancing. It doesn't know whether it has filament in it or not. It doesn't know much of anything at all. It just says, you told me to move here and here and here at this speed. That's what I'm doing. And so I start to think about those approaches and how we see them in nature. And I mentioned like a bee coming back to the hive and dancing around, show everybody where the nectar is, you know, they got to go get that delicious stuff, you know? So we see that a lot in nature. And I think it's a beautiful way of understanding that technology and biology and all of this really is all the same. I say we live in a world of spectrums.
Oh, yeah.
If we're coming from old mentalities where we have to try to fit an item or a production method or our concept, whether it's a social concept or a concept for how to produce something, into kind of like a slot in our fishing box. I've got a place for my green lures. I've got a place for my orange lures. And now all of a sudden, this white and blue speckled, striped, gold-plated, sparkly lure is here, and I have no idea where to put it in my fishing box. It's not a problem with the lure. It's a problem with my box mentality, right?
Yeah.
So since we live in this world of spectra, I think it's just beautiful to understand that there's no place where these projects stop being art and start being engineering, or vice versa. There's no place where we can say, well, this is a community project or a corporate project. It's all the same. And we're all in this fantastic world together. And I think we want to go and grow together, because together is the way to do it.
Very, very true. Oh, wow.
So I must ask you one really important question. Really important.
Oh boy.
All right.
Who is your favorite Game of Thrones character?
Oh,
And are you watching Hot D?
pass.
I'm not entirely sure actually, Jon Snow's my favorite. But I haven't watched it yet, but I'm definitely going to watch the House of Dragons.
Awesome.
Yeah. I have to admit, my favorite is probably, I like Tyrion,
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Tyrion's fun.
Tyrion's
but
good.
I also like Sansa. But I don't know. I think, no, Arya is my favorite. Arya.
Arya's interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, she's an interesting character. I like the kind of vengeance. What would you say? Track that she was
Yeah.
heading on there.
Yeah.
I'm not fully caught up on all of it. One of these days, I'll actually sit down and finish it. But it's like I love that kind of the vengeance track. So,
Be careful, everybody. She loves the vengeance track.
hey, it was really interesting because you've got this female character who typically gets she's gonna be sweet
Yeah.
and pretty, and it's like no, she's like
Not her.
I got some stuff to do. She's like, there you go, kick some butt. No, I don't have time for all this frilly stuff.
Sounds like
Yeah.
one after my own heart.
Me too.
I love it.
Yeah. Like, throw the frilly stuff away and think, give me the sword. Yeah,
Yeah.
much more fun.
Or Mandalorian Rifle.
Oh,
as
yes,
the
or
case
the
may be.
rifle.
Right.
Rifles are always good.
Okay, you are officially banned away from anything that has a pointy end or projects anything.
Oh.
Oh, but that's not fun.
Well, it's just in the, sense of safety.
All right. Well, are there any kind of like closing comments that you want to go over?
I think
Okay.
all I'd have to say is, man, go to rcbi.org.
Yeah.
If you scroll like, 2/3 of the way down the page, there's this sign up for our newsletter. And I think that's a spot where you'll really start to get kind of we're multifaceted. We work in economic development, workforce training, work in conjunction with the community and technical colleges to get
Yeah.
young folks and others access into machining, becoming CNC trained right now. Right now, we're working with America's Cutting Edge in this huge workforce training endeavor. You can
Yeah.
go on right now, and this is insane because I'm doing this too, and I work there. You can go on and get I think it's like a 6 full hour course. You take this online course. You know how those online courses are? Yeah, I took an online course. I got a certificate. Well, it's the same thing. You take that course, you get a lot of concepts, you watch some videos, you understand the fundamentals of machining, but you bring us that piece of paper and you'll be placed in a week-long cohort to do a
nice.
hands-on boot camp at RCBI in front of a machining lathe and mill. So you can put to work with our instructor. And I don't care if you're in education or you like to tinker or you have no mechanical acuity at all. It is the coolest thing. And you'll actually make an air-powered piston engine.
Oh, nice.
I swear to you, it's unbelievable. And this is the piece that breaks me in half. Like, it's entirely free. This is completely free.
Oh, wow.
That's very
Investment
awesome.
in America's next generation of makers that are going to be, we're reshoring a lot in this country. We're coming out of the pandemic. Everything's quote unquote changing. And in this country, we're making sure it's changing in our favor and in the favor of the people of Appalachia and West Virginia. And it's an exciting time. It's a really exciting time. So we make lots in America. We're making the makers in America.
Yes.
That's the way we're looking at it. So go and check that out. Good Lord, it's unbelievable. You wouldn't even know about it if you didn't, get there and check it out. So jump on our mailing list. You'll find out about all kinds of crazy stuff like that, as well as our support to classrooms, to educators, the maker of all, the giveaways we do, the generous grant sponsors that make our work possible. I've got my Maker Camp shirt on. And every year we go to different parts of the state and we bring young people in that get a manufacturer tour. They get great meals each day. They learn to 3D print, to laser cut, to do 2D and 3D design, and so much more. And we receive generous support from formerly Suddenlink, now Optimum.
Okay.
I don't know. People don't even know this. They think about Suddenlink and it's, internet.
Yeah.
They support robotics. They sponsor
nice.
programs. Like, we found a mission fit with this organization we never would have imagined. So they're giving us merchandise in our camp. And most importantly, every year they're providing scholarships to let 5 young people attend one of our maker camps for entirely free. So we do these applications. You apply for funding. Hey, the pandemic's got me down. I have 17 siblings and mom and dad can't afford it. Like, it doesn't matter. We'll help you out and put you in a seat. So we're reaching the hard to reach.
Awesome.
We're making sure that financial is never a barrier that keeps you out. And we're creating sustainable programs that invest in young people, just like the West Virginia Maker Festival invests in our ability to connect and continue making.
Very awesome. Now, how often does the maker camps happen?
Yeah, so we do those once a year, usually in June and July.
Okay.
We do 3 to 4 camps per year, usually in Huntington and Charleston and in Bridgeport. But in the past, we've done them as far away as Williamson in conjunction with the Southern Community and Technical College. So we're always open to new opportunities to reach young people. Williamson was super fun, and we were reaching, young people that were just a little off the beaten path, and we're grateful to have an opportunity to come and do something incredible for a week. All good things.
That's very awesome. Well, I think, Heather, do you have any other questions you want to ask before we wrap up, or?
I think right now I've got a lot to digest.
Yeah, there is all kinds of information in this episode. And again, we're going to have links on the YouTube description. We'll have them on our website, up on our social media. So if you have questions, and always feel free, you can contact us. Marshall.edu/HerdCon is our website. And you can also email us at herdcon@marshall.edu. We are very happy to share any information that we've had from past episodes. If you have suggestions for what you would like to see in the future, anything like that, we'd love to hear from you. So, but yes, thank you very much, Deacon and Skyler, for being here. I mean, it has been a blast.
Well, thank you.
Thank
for
you,
that.
thank you,
Thanks for
thank
having
you
us.
for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate it. I'm very flattered to be here. I'm always excited to be involved in HerdCon in
Oh, we
any
love it.
possible way. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. One
love
thing
you.
HerdCon does is we love to see people make stuff.
Yes,
We love to see
we
people do stuff.
love you
Share
guys
the
being
passion.
involved with HerdCon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We absolutely love it.
Well, I think every day, we try at RCBI to help people put their print on the world and change things. And in so doing, they themselves are changed. Their strategy and their outlook, their philosophy has changed. But I mean, tell you, no matter how hard we try, it's slow going
yeah.
sometimes. But when
Sorry.
it comes to pop culture, when it comes to cosplay, costuming, and gaming, when it comes to that stuff, you can make an impact in an instant. And
Yeah.
it really meets that instant gratification side of me.
Yeah.
I'm not the world's most patient individual. I like to consider myself like positively impatient. I try not to be too negative about it. It's like, come on, let's do it. It's like, so this creativity is a learning accelerator. It's a connectivity accelerator, and exploring things in pop culture. It's our way to take that which is behind the scenes, push it up front, and say, hey, here's how I'm making my print on the world, and I'm doing it today. I'm doing it tomorrow. It doesn't have to wait until our business scales in a year.
Very true.
So there's great joy from our side too for being involved, because it's this accelerator of beauty and creativity that I think just can't. There's nothing else like it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. It's an exhausting enterprise, but it is so rewarding, especially at the end of the day when you get there, you see all the people who enjoyed it and the impact it had on them individually. It's always just amazing.
And I get to go and talk about 3D printing and fly drones all the time. I never talked to so many people with ears and tails in my life. It's just everybody got some ears and tails on. I thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, my family and I, we went to the Mountain Music Festival this past year. And you see a lot of arts and cosplay and creativity there at these festivals. My first festival, my wife's like the honorary family hippie. She knows this stuff, and she's like, you guys are gonna love this concept. So by the time we get done, my son, who has an affinity for Rocket Raccoon, is Rocket Raccoon. He has bought a raccoon tail, and he has his face painted, and he's climbing up. We had 4 or 5 hammocks high up in the tree, and he's climbing up. It's like he's just a raccoon now. So he has ears and tails too now. So yeah, we're all in the family.
It works. Express yourself. Well, we want to say thank you to everyone watching. Again,
Thank you.
if you got questions, just let us know. We're very, very communicative. I mean, we will just jump in there and say, what? Sure. We'll send you that information. That sounds great. So yeah, if you need us, give us a call, or we're just down the road essentially. And of course, RCBI is literally just down the road from us. So yeah, and we'll get you in touch if you need to get in touch with anybody. We will make that happen. So thank you again for being a part of the HerdCon PopCast, and we hope to see you again in about 2 weeks. So have fun, guys.
Bye.
Catch you on the flip side.
Bye bye.